Hello, everyone. Um, a couple of days back, the richest man in Africa, Nigeria, and the person of Aliko Dangote stirred a controversy by um, laying allegations against the CEO of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority. That's the person of Farouk Ahmed. All right. He accuses him of misappropriation of fund or corruption, right? Is the news is already in the public domain where Aliko Dangote granted a press conference where he made this allegation, right? In this video, we want to be looking at, the facts, the legal processes, and why due process must be followed. This is not a video to take side of any of the players in this allegation. Okay, so before we go further, let's watch the video, the press conference that was granted by Aliko Dangote, where he made this allegation. Sit back and watch.
It is something that when you look at it, I've had actually people making complaint about a regulator who has actually put his children in secondary school, and that secondary school education, which is 6 years, four of them cost Nigeria $5 million. I mean, you cannot imagine somebody paying $5 million for educating five children. Even my own children, they didn't go to those schools. My children went to Nigerian secondary school. They didn't go outside Nigeria to attend secondary school. I don't know about your children, but mine, yes. So, and this is a system that, some of us, because you know what, we're taxpayers. When people are complaining, we also complain, because the issue is that, yes, when I pay tax, I want to see that my money is being put to use, not to be stolen. But today, as we speak, the the S, I don't know what is the, that is the authority chief executive, Malam Farouk. Malam Farouk has four of his children that he educated in Switzerland at the cost of $5 million for their secondary school education alone, not university. And I know that one of them just finished Harvard. So I want to now see what kind of system are we operating. That, people are now busy destroying the country, taking money from the government. Because when you look at his income does not match paying this kind of fees. I think even if it's me paying $5 million for 6 years for my 4 children, the taxman has to look at my taxes, how much I paid. And really, this is something we're not going to allow it to continue. We will take it up to the highest authority so that they will look at it. People who have done something wrong must be prosecuted. It must be prosecuted, because there is actually no way where somebody will now come. I mean, from where he comes from Sokoto, people are struggling to pay 100,000 naira for school fees of secondary school. And a lot of children are at home, not going to school because of 100,000 naira. Tony, can you pay this fee? No, I'm asking now. Can you?
I can't.
Okay, so if you cannot afford, I cannot understand why somebody who has worked all his life in government, and he has 4 children that he has paid $5 million. I've seen that people have taken this post, and nobody is listening to them. So we will actually join them to make sure that this is done properly. The man must come and explain to Nigerians how he paid $5 million for 6 years of his 4 children's education. And I don't think if any one of you has actually paid that kind of fees for your own, children. So we can't allow this to continue because we must make sure that people don't come and destroy a country just because they want to make a living that is not genuine or that is not legal. Because I mean, for somebody to have this sort of money, he must be supported by people. He should come out and tell people how did he make $4-5 million to educate his children in Switzerland with a cost of 5 million.
Hello. Okay, welcome back. Um, in this video we just watched, um, Dangote made a very wealthy allegations against the CEO of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, Ahmed Farouk. He accused him of, spending $5 million in educating his kids in Switzerland, in Europe, right, for their secondary school education, all right, and he went further to say that situation like this, that even if he himself should do such, that the tax authority, people in charge of taxation in Nigeria, the authorities should at least look into his financial capacity, his financial dealings, to see if he has the capacity to fund his kids' education. So he's indirectly calling that, okay, the authorities should look into the finance of Farouk Ahmed to see if his earnings can finance his children's education. And he went further to say that to call the authorities, right? He even went further to threaten that perhaps he will take the matter up, that such things should not be swept under the carpet. All right. We'll come back to continue our analysis, but before then, because Dangote has taken the case up by a step further by submitting a petition, right, to one of the anti-graft agencies in Nigeria. Let's look at that report. Look at the report of that petition that he has submitted here. Okay, as you can see from the Punch newspaper, Dangote has petitioned the ICPC, that's the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, right? He has petitioned them, asking for the arrest of the CEO of the Petroleum Regulatory Authority over corruption allegations, as reported by Punch newspaper in the that we are looking at now. Okay. Dangote has made an allegation, a very wealthy allegation, right? Before the law, for now, the accused or the Petroleum Regulatory Authority boss, that's Farouk Ahmed, is innocent, right? And this allegation was made by no other person than the richest man in Africa, right? Is not a nobody, okay? And is a great investor in the Nigerian economy and Africa, the African continent by extension, okay? So this is one reason why the anti-graft agencies, not just ICPC alone, even if it's possible, the EFCC, that's the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, if possible, even if the police can also be involved, they should, investigate this matter thoroughly, because, like I said earlier on, Dangote is not just anybody, okay? And also, why this matter needs to be investigated thoroughly is because once a thorough investigation is done and report is released at the end of the day or in the long run, this will go a long way in increasing the public trust in our institutions, all right? So that is part of the reasons why this issue need to be to be thoroughly investigated and not swept under the carpet. Like I said earlier on, the CEO of the regulatory authority is innocent until proven guilty. So a thorough investigation should be done. And if at the end of the day, is as in a case is against him, then the law must take its course. He should be prosecuted, all right? But if at the end of the day there is no evidence, there is no case against him, I think that it should be publicly cleared, right? Of his name should be publicly cleared, okay? So that is that. Now, you see, I can still remember during my university undergraduate days, in one of our, I think I was in 200 level or 300 level then, right? When one of our lecturers, he was teaching us that day, that's Professor Femi Omotosho. He asked a question in the class. He asked us then that, what do we think, as at that time, was the greatest or biggest problem of Nigeria? We started mentioning different things, tribalism, ethnicity, religiosity. That's the tendentious religiosity of Nigerians. Nigerians, there's this tendentious religiosity nature we have in this country, but that's not the import of this video, okay? So we mentioned different problems. At the end of the day, Ina told us that the biggest and major problem of Nigeria is corruption, all right? Then I didn't really get the import of what he told us then. It was after a couple of years later I started seeing how huge corruption is in Nigeria. I mean, how huge corruption is a problem in Nigeria, okay? Because corruption has stunted the development of Nigeria in various sectors, from infrastructure. It has stunted our growth, our development in infrastructure, in education, quantitative and qualitative education. Corruption has stunted it. What about healthcare delivery? In the area of healthcare delivery, quantitative and quality healthcare delivery, corruption has stunted Nigeria's growth in other sectors as well. So corruption is a very, very huge problem, okay? This issue must not be swept under the carpet. I'm saying it again for emphasis, right? The authorities must investigate it thoroughly, because once corruption is tackled, it's not like corruption is not in other countries, even in advanced countries, all right? But it is perhaps or mostly at the barest minimum. So corruption needs to be tackled in Nigeria thoroughly, right, to the barest minimum. If this case should be the one that will really kickstart thorough corruption investigation and prosecution in this country, then it will be a good thing. Yes, we've been seeing a lot of cases in the past, from the days of Obasanjo and other presidents, governors, House of Rep members, other public institution members have been, arrested, taken to court for various corruption allegations or the other, but somehow the cases are not well, prosecuted, and conviction, given at the end of the day. But this one, because Nigeria cannot continue like this. We cannot continue to merry-go-round, toy around it, treat it with kid's glove, as if it is not a serious problem, all right? So this issue must be thoroughly investigated by the authorities, and if there is indeed corruption, prosecution must take place. A similar allegation like this is currently in the court, or a similar case like this is currently in the court, where one of the immediate past governors in one of the northern states, right, was accused by the EFCC of paying ahead, using state resources, the state where he governed, using the money of the state to pay ahead the school fees or the tuition fees of his kids in secondary school, right? For those that may don't know what secondary school is, maybe diasporan Nigerians or diasporans or people outside Nigeria that may be watching this. Secondary school is just like, high school in the US, okay? So, the governor is currently in court with the EFCC. The EFCC, that's the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission of Nigeria, took him to court. That case is still in court. So, corruption is a very, very big issue. Nigeria cannot continue like this. We must tackle corruption headlong. For me as a person, I see corruption as a major problem. In fact, it's the biggest problem to development, as in fighting against development in Nigeria. Leadership corruption is very sprawling across Nigeria. So this allegation that was made by no other person but Dangote should be treated seriously. It should not be swept under the carpet. And the accused should be given fair hearing, right? He should be given the opportunity to come and clear his name. Both of all the players involved in this case should be invited by the authorities, right? And this case should be investigated thoroughly. It shouldn't just be swept under the carpet, all right? Thank you very much and see you in the next one. Bye-bye.